welcome back to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Today is another coin review, and it's a re-release of a coin I reviewed back in May, which is XRP. Not Ripple. Ripple is a different entity, and they own XRP coins, but they don't control the network, as I'll talk about in the news in a few minutes. So we're going to go over the news that I released in May, the chart I released in May, an updated chart I'm just touching on now, and then I'll come back with my conclusions and my assessment on a scale of 1 to 5, and we'll go from there.
Just a quick reminder that nothing in this video is considered financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Seek out your own advice and do your own diligence, do your own research. So there's a lot of ways to talk about Ripple and XRP, but I thought the best way to cover it would be find an article that kind of talks about all the misconceptions about both of these entities. And believe it or not, Forbes had a pretty good article that covers a lot of them. So I'm not going to cover each of these 14 misunderstandings, but I'm going to hit on a lot of them and try to dispel some of the rumors that are out there to try to explain what really exists about Ripple and XRP. So let's start at the top and work our way down. XRP is not needed. Now, this is kind of a generic title, just kind of an eye catcher. But if you dig into the details and get past the byline here, there's two main products that are available from XRP, Xcurrent and Xrapid. Xcurrent is the system that challenges the SWIFT system. If you're not familiar with the SWIFT system, that's basically the system that the US dollars use. It's US dollar based, and it's used between central banks throughout most of the world that are participants in the SWIFT system to wire money back and forth. That's how most of the money moves between banks. That is where XRP gets the reputation of being a banker coin. It is created Xcurrent to compete with the SWIFT system to eliminate all the costs and all the time of transacting via the SWIFT system and all the necessary need to keep monetary reserves at all these central banks to pull liquidity out of the market. You don't need that anymore because you can just get XRP, move the XRP, and then switch it back to fiat once it gets there. So that was the main use case for XRP and why many people thought this was the banker coin, and rightly so, because banks used it for their moving their money between central banks. And if you're in cryptocurrency, you pretty much oppose the whole idea of a centralized banking system. So why would you support XRP? That's the mental hurdle that a lot of people have with understanding XRP. So moving down further, pardon the scroll, I'm sorry, it's a long article. We start to talk about the next few points are about volatility. Banks won't hold it. Banks don't need to hold it. They just transact through it. So if you want to move $1 billion from the Bank of New York to Bank of London, the Bank of New York could just buy the XRP, send the XRP to the Bank of London, which would then flip it over to whatever currency they want. They could use the pound or they could use US dollars. So they wouldn't have to hold a reserve. They would just take the money that they had, the currency, the US dollar, buy Ripple, or XRP, send the XRP over, and it would transit back to the pound or the US dollar, and then it would be done. So you don't need that necessarily that liquidity to move things. Certainly the London Bank wouldn't need to hold the reserves because they'd be sent the money, especially with the electronic moving of funds today. So then we start talking about stable coins and if they're better. Stable coins and centralized banking coins are no better than digital dollars. So the system of XRP is much cheaper and more efficient to make these moves. Same point again. They just keep saying it a different way. XRP is not a real cryptocurrency. This kind of goes back to the whole SEC confrontation that's going on right now. So the SEC is challenging the way that Ripple and XRP were structured, how the coin was released, how it was originally put out there in the marketplace, and that's still not quite resolved. The next information is coming out on May 21st. Let's scroll up here. So May 21st is when there's going to be another hearing and another call that the SEC puts out. The main takeaway to talk about, though, is that the SEC is United States only. We often, as Americans, I assume most of you listening to me are American. If not, thank you. I love reaching a broader audience. But XRP is more than 90% worldwide, meaning that Less than 10% of all XRP transactions or ownership is within the United States. So most of the world does not care what the SEC thinks about XRP. So now let's talk about one of the major things that people point out as a flaw, potentially, of XRP is its centralization versus decentralization. Now, there's a lot of factors that are in play here. First off, XRP uses a consensus network, not proof of work or proof of stake. Proof of work is like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin where they mine. Proof of stake is a staking or masternode type system like Divi or Dash. So XRP is different because they use consensus. Now, the consensus is a positive for decentralization. So if I look at an article about the decentralized nature of XRP, you can scroll down here and there's an interesting infographic. This is a couple years old. I just wanted to give it's from 2018, but it speaks highly of the structure. At the time, Bitcoin and Ethereum probably less centralized now, but at the time of this, Bitcoin and Ethereum, a lot of the miners of Bitcoin, so four mining groups controlled over almost 60% of Bitcoin. Ethereum, 3 mining groups had almost 57% of Ethereum. So a 51% attack could happen from 3 to 4 mining pools from either of these networks. XRP, the concern was that Ripple had too much control, but Ripple only owns 7% of the validators. For validators to reach consensus on XRP, it's 80% of the validators have to make a change. That's how you'd have to make a change to the network. So a 51% attack would actually be an 80% attack for XRP, and that would be 150 validators, so that would require 120 validators to all agree to make a change. Ripple runs only 10. So this is a tick in the column for XRP being decentralized. Now, the centralized vote is the fact that Ripple owns a lot of shares of XRP, which puts a lot of pressure on the ownership of the XRP coin. So there's a distinction that needs to be made between owning a lot of the coin and owning control of the network. Ripple does not have a lot of control of the network, but they have a lot of possession of the coins, as does some of the creators of the coin, which I will point out now. One moment, please. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to point number 9 here. Point 7 and 8 were not too consequential. I'll leave the link to the article if you want to read them. But point number 9 is about how Ripple created XRP, which they try to dispute. It's really a strange argument. But one thing that's pointed out that they created 100 million coins. And that is the cap. That is a capped coin. 100 billion coins. The company owned 80 billion of them. And 3 of the creators, including Jen McCaleb, had the other 20 billion. So at the time that this was created, there were no ICOs. So this is how they launched the coins pretty much all at once. And then they put the company under the framing of open coin, put over half of those 80 billion coins in escrow and announced that they would release, I think that was in 2017, they would release 1 billion coins a month until they expired. So that's basically, or they'd be all out in the market. So there is a tokenomics definition put forth by XRP to show how the population of the coins will get out into the marketplace. So it's not like that Ripple can just make more and more coins. It's that they're releasing them on a schedule, which is predefined now. So the centralization, decentralization, and market cap number of coins arguments against XRP are a little bit flawed. Moving forward to the article, we go down to just a couple of things. Ripple can print more XRP. We just talked about that's not going to happen. And then we talked about control of the network. That was pointed out in the infographic that they only own 10% of or 10 out of 150 validators. And the rest is like the price. They don't control the price. So this article does a pretty good job of laying out the misconceptions and misunderstandings about XRP and Ripple. Are both those organizations flawless? Absolutely not. Neither is the leadership of XRP or Ripple. But a lot of the controversy about this coin is based on some misconceptions that are out there. Does the coin have a use case? Yes. Could it be used for payments in currency? Yes. Could that be used incorrectly? I'll say it that way. Yes. So I think this coin has a lot of upside, and I just wanted to point out some of the truths about the coin, whether you like it or not. But there is a lot to be taken away from this coin, and some of the misconceptions may steer you away from the coin that I wanted to point out that are not necessarily the correct information. So now you have more information to make a better educated choice for your own personal financial wealth and personal financial coin selections in your own portfolio. Clearly not financial advice, but here's the information for you to make educated decisions. Time for a little charting with XRP. So we have two charts, XRP versus US dollars and XRP versus Bitcoin. Both of them are going to be the daily time frame. Now, if we go all the way back to December of last year, you could see how low that XRP was. It was in the 20 to 30 cent range. If you go back for all time for like last several years, that's about as low as it ever gets, around a quarter. So you could definitely see that was the upside potential back then. And you started to see like a little cup with handle forming, and then it shot up. It clearly shot up in the April time frame when people started to think that, well, we're going to be done with the whole the SEC thing. So what's happened is like it's formed what you could call it a flag or a pennant, where it rose up quickly from 40 cents and it hit $1.80, and now it's been kind of bouncing back and forth in this triangle. And normally when you get a flag or pennant like this shape, whenever it breaks out, might go down one more time, then come up here and then break out. If it breaks out from say $1.50 and shoots up from there, the breakout move on something like this on the pattern would lend itself towards being about as large as the flag staff of the pennant. So if you look at the measurement here, I consider this to be the flag move, about 200%. So if I was conservative, I might pull that down and say maybe that's the flag, and that's more like, let's try this again. Say it's right here, 130%. So 130 to 200% from $1.50. So 130 of $1.50, that puts it about 3 1/4. 200% would put about $4.50. So that's what the chart is saying. Now, there's been a lot of people talking about XRP. A lot of intuitives have been saying $8 to $12. With the SEC settlement that may come out, obviously a major move could happen. Once it breaks the 340 mark, which is its all-time high, all bets are really off, and you go into price discovery mode. So when you clear out everybody that's ever been in XRP and you get above that $3.40 mark, it could run. It could easily run up to the $10 mark. So do not be surprised if that happens, but really you're going to need a major event like the SEC settlement to really make that happen. So now let's take a look at the XRP BTC chart. Again, it's a daily chart. It's an interesting pattern again. I see a cup pattern pretty much forming here, where we're down in the 1,000 Satoshis, and then it's up to the 2,700 range. So that means another 1,700 Satoshis could be tacked on top of here, which would be not quite a double, but you can definitely see a pattern where this has upside. If I move it out to, say, a weekly chart, definitely have to scale out here. But you can see, if you go way back in time, XRP has plenty of room to run to be at an all-time high, which would be 17,000 Satoshis, where it's at 2,700 now. So you may seem like it's like, no way can this thing go up 5 or 6x. Clearly the chart says it can. So 6x from here would take it from $1.50 to $9. So an $8 to $12 range is not out of the realm of possibility when you start to talk in terms of XRP versus Bitcoin instead of XRP versus dollars.
So I want to do a quick update on XRP's chart, and I'm just going to do it against USDT because that's what pretty much was covered in the video. So the video pretty much ends around mid-May, and I saw a reasonable trend that would head upwards into the couple dollar range. What I'm seeing now is that we had a downtrend from May to July, and then we kind of bottomed out in July, August timeframe, and then we went up again to about where it was in May, and we've been pretty much trending a little bit down, almost sideways since then for the last month or so. Now, if you notice this pattern, which I've drawn in the orange line, it's very similar with the video I just put out, which is cup with handle. So the cup with handle video, and I'll link it in the video description above,
tells you that if you draw a line at the neckline and you measure from the bottom of the cup to the middle of the cup, or I'm sorry, the top line of the cup, which is 70 cents, that should be about the move upwards we would expect to get when it breaks out away from the handle. So the handle is about $1.10. So $1.75, $1.80 is a reasonable target, which will put us about the top of, we'll put it right about here. So I'll draw a quick line there, make it green. So $1.75 puts us right here. Try again. And we'll make it green. So that's a reasonable target, and that movement from where it is now to $1.75 would give us about a 57% increase. Now, again, not financial advice, but that seems like it could be a reasonable trend, and that could wind up being another larger cup with handle that would start from here all the way down, or say here to here, somewhere in there, and then we might trickle down into the 150 to 165 range and then shoot up from there. And then if you went all the way back down the same bottom again, you could be looking at another $1.10 or so that of an upswing, which would put us in the video where we said we're at like $2.50 to $3 range. So there's a path forward here. Again, if the SEC thing clears up, and we still are waiting news on that, that's pretty much why we've been in sort of a languishy pattern for the last month or so. The news has been relatively positive so far, but we'll wait and see. But that's where XRP looks today. It could break out at any day based on the chart, not financial advice, but that's what the chart is telling me today.
So there's the coin for today. It's XRP. It's very controversial. I went through some of the misunderstandings. As most of you, most of my audience is in the United States, and if you're not, thank you. I appreciate that. But there's a centrist view that we all look at things through the U.S. lens. But XRP is a global coin, just like all crypto is. It's a global entity. Most of XRP is viewed on the global stage, which over 90% of the trades are beyond the U.S. borders. So the SEC impact, while it does matter and the U.S. markets do matter, for the most part, the rest of the world really doesn't care. They just looked at it as XRP is on sale. Let's grab it. Let's wait for it to come back up. So when it was in the 20 to 30 cent range, they were just gobbling it up. And then it was delisted from Coinbase. They said, thank you very much. And now it's back in the dollar range. So could have hit $2 or $3, or as some intuitives have been saying, $10 to $12. Certainly it could hit. It could happen. It's not financial advice at all, but as with anything in crypto markets, anything can happen, anything can go up. But clearly the upside potential outweighs the downside risk, I believe, for this particular project. So the SEC decision, it's not out yet, but most of the information that's leaking out from the case, not looking good for the SEC side. Things are looking good for the XRP side, which means that the price will probably continue to trend upwards. Also could mean that the coin is going to be back on Coinbase. I did see a blurb where Coinbase, I think it's Coinbase, not Pro, but I think that's one of the versions of Coinbase is allowing for international wires to be using XRP. Now, why would they do that and delist Coinbase? Why would Coinbase delist XRP if they're allowing customers to use XRP as a virtual wire system? Something to think about. Again, all the indications are that the SEC is losing this case, but again, most of the world doesn't care. But expect Coinbase and other U.S. markets like Binance US and Kraken, Abra to put XRP back on the table probably before the end of the year. So that is looking good. Again, I reviewed the chart back from mid-May. It did the flag that built what did go back up, but then it came back down. Looks like a couple of handle now. Overall, things look good. The other thing I wanted to point out is Jed McCaleb, which I mentioned in the video. It seems to be that his wallet is now empty. So is he done selling? Is he done flooding the market with XRP? That's also a positive for XRP. So as far as my rating, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 last time. I think I would bump it up to a 4 now because of the SEC and just the way the charts look and the way it's trending. If it starts to trend and break out, if it breaks out of the $50, $60, $70 range, I think we're looking at a 4.5 type number. It's got its own blockchain. If we get the controversy from my British friends behind us, then we could shoot up past that all-time high in the 3 range, and then the sky's the limit from there. So there's still a little bit to be concerned about with the Brad Garlinghouses, and he's very much involved in XRP and one of the faces of it, and the fact that he rubs elbows with central banks. That's a concern, obviously, with the global financial picture right now. But overall, I do like the project. I think it's got in the short to medium term, I'd say in the next 6 to 12 months, it's got a very good positive outlook. Long term, still questions. We don't know what it's going to be used for. We don't know who's going to be trying to get their hands on it and control it. We don't know that part. But for right now, at a roughly $1, I think the probability of it going to $1.50 is higher than the probability of going to 50 cents. Not financial advice, but that's how the charts are speaking to me, and I think how the general trend of the outlook of the project seems to be today. So a lot said. I'm going to close the drawer on the bureau, and I'll see you next time.